Alrighty guys, we're back for Orzhov Auras, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor Standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Rockin' all for Eriette to the Charmed Apple. 3 mana 2/4 legendary creature. Each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. That's neat, but that's not why it's in here. It's in here for this bottom ability. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of auras you control. Oh my goodness, that is a good ability. This is going to have a huge target on its back all the time, so hopefully every now and then we'll be able to protect it with cards like Fungal Fortitude. A 2 mana aura, it does have flash. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0. When enchanted creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Okay, nice. Very similar concept with Not Dead After All. Except when you're bringing back the creature with Not Dead After All, it slaps a wicked roll onto it as well, which happens to be an aura, so of course that's going to work wonders with that Eriette. Now, I do have other ways to put rolls onto our creatures in this build, like Lord Skitter's Blessing, for example. When this ETBs, you get that wicked roll. Also a great way to keep our hand nice and stocked up as long as we control an enchanted creature. Spellbook Vendor is another way to get rolls. This one's Sorcerer rolls, and it's at the beginning of combat on your turn. You can pay 1 and put that Sorcerer roll on something. Yeah, pretty good creature, man, especially when we actually don't have too many creatures packed in. It's going to be important that we have a creature that still fits that whole aura theme. Or enchantment theme, right? So Okiba Reckoner Raid made the cut. First 2 chapters of the saga kind of fits the whole draining concept that Eriette is going for as well. Like each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life for the first 2 turns, then it flips into Road Captain, and you're usually pretty happy to have Road Captain on the board. Other auras that we have packed in, a lot of removal with 4 ossifications. Hopefully the 13 basics is going to be enough to at least see 1 every game so ossification can actually do its thing. We also have a couple planar disruptions and a couple dead weights too, which I actually think is going to be pretty good in here. Other enchantments that we have packed in, we do have Case of the Uneaten Feast, because I think we're going to be gaining a lot of life. It is noteworthy that when it's unsolved, you solve it at the beginning of your end step. So you realistically can't rely on the Eriette to solve the case for you, but I think that's totally fine, because I think it's going to be really easy to actually gain 5 life in other ways, like Katilda, for example. Of course, that flying lifelink, power, toughness are each equal to the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. Very powerful card. Also, the backside fits that whole aura theme with the disturb for 3 and double white. You just turn something else into Katilda. It's actually very powerful. So we have ways to grab auras out of the deck, like Invasion of Theros. Let's have Case File Auditor in here too. Appears at the top 6 cards of your library. You reveal an enchantment card from among them, put it into your hand, and you're very happy about that. Let's have some janky picks as well, like Curse of the Leeches. I do think it's going to be pretty good in here, though, and every now and then when it is nighttime, a 4/4 lifelink really comes in handy. Let's have a top end that works well with the whole drain concept on Eriette. A couple Bloodletter of Aclazotz should go a long way, and a single Sheoldred for some reason. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead, save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video. We'll talk more about synergies there, maybe change up the deck a little bit before I post it to Aether Hub. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right into that first game, guys. What am I expecting from the list? I have no idea. Last time we played like Eriette Drain or Auras or whatever we want to call this, it was pretty darn good actually. So I'm expecting a little bit, but I guess generally speaking, I guess we can't expect too much, right? Opponent goes first. Okay. All right. I see nothing wrong with this hand. We're going to be taking some pain damage, but hopefully not for the whole game. Okay, Not Dead After All. Kumano, huh? And they went first. Well, let's put our life gain to work here. And it's going to have to do a lot of work with these pain lands. It might be Spellbook Vendor, but it might not be. It might be Okiba Reckoner Raid number 2. Okay, Kumano number 2. A good turn 2 for the opponent. Kumano number 1 flips next turn. There we go. We see a swamp. That's good news. So Spellbook Vendor, we take a pain down to 15. and then they can easily burn that away. I think this is a better turn 3. Well, Katilda is probably the best turn 3, but... So Not Dead After All has no target. I do think it is Okiba Reckoner raid and just not take the pain damage for the turn. We'll see what happens here, huh? Once we get Katilda down, it'd be nice to get above the lightning strike range. Okay, Charming Scoundrel. Let's see what they do with this. They go Wicked. Really good swing for the opponent. We're down to 10, but we are going to be gaining 1 here and getting a chump blocker on the board too. So Not Dead After All actually works really well with the Road Captain as it comes back as the Saga for more life gain. And we don't care if the Saga comes back tapped. Except we do... What happens to the Wicked roll? Nothing, I guess, right? Actually, I have no idea. Another Caves, that's not great. We would have preferred a white source that isn't doing damage to us. So if we take double white from Katilda, it does block well in the air. It just takes 1 lightning strike, though, to do it all away. Should we risk the Katilda? Give me 1 second, opponent. Let me think about this. If we go like Spellbook, we're just taking 1 down to 10. If we go Katilda, we're going down to 9. Spellbook Vendor will have 1 open for the Not Dead After All, or on our turn, we could go ahead and get it to a 3/3 with the Sorcerer roll. All right, I think we are so close to death that we might as well risk the Katilda play. It's going to be a 3/3, and we'll see what happens here. Because if it doesn't get burnt away, then it's really, really good here. And like anything else that we end up playing, like if we go Spellbook Vendor and kept the Not Dead After All, for example. Oh, it is a lightning strike. No, it's a Witchstalker Frenzy. Well, same concept in this. It's like I said, I think we were so close to death anyways that we might as well have risked the opponent not having it there, right? That is going to be 9 no matter where we block. So if we went down to 10 with the Vendor, kept the Not Dead After All, and they Witchstalker Frenzied the Vendor. So we would have been at 10. So I guess we technically would have survived the turn, right? But we don't know what this was here. They have a mountain and 1 more card in hand too. It very well could be like a play with fire or something too. All right, yeah, I think the Katilda was worth the risk. We ended up taking a lot of pain damage throughout that one too. But maybe if our mana base lined up a little bit better, maybe we'd still be in that for 1 more turn. And honestly, when you're gaining that much life off of like Katilda or something, like, because we had Fungal Fortitude in hand too, and that's pretty good to slap onto the Katilda because of the +2/+0. Yeah, usually just 1 more turn is all it ends up taking, as you can reestablish. Okay. And it goes first. Okay, as long as we see our 3rd, I'm hoping that this is pretty good. Seeing some removal here is pretty good for sure. Like, removal would have helped us out a little bit last game. Okay, both of our Not Dead After Alls. I'm going to go ahead and get that Shattered Sanctum down. Have the Plains ready for next turn. Maybe Ossification the Sleeper, but probably not. Oh, crap. What do they want to hit here? Probably the Ossification then. Although, just taking... Well, yeah, anything else they take, we can go Ossification Bat and get it right back anyway. So, yeah, that makes the most sense to me as well, opponent. If we go Swamp for the turn, we have Lord Skitter's Blessing, but we missed the Wicked roll. But getting a enchantment down and established isn't terrible, I suppose. Okay, awkward couple turns, I would say, for sure. Although there's not too many 1-drops in here anyway. Just the Okiba Reckoner raid, actually. So missing that Ossification play this turn is really tempting me to just go ahead and get this on the board. But I think I'm going to hold it back. Not spending mana here really sucks. The Deep Cavern Bat acting as significant tempo for the opponent. Activating the Sleeper. Okay, not keeping the 2 open for removal and taking that Eriette is definitely the play. Yep, Deep Cavern Bat is brutal right now. Okay, Okiba Reckoner raid. At least it's something. We're one black source away from Bloodletter of Aclazotz too, which will block pretty well. Am I still going to keep the Lord Skitter's Blessing back? I suppose so. I'd rather get that Wicked Roll on something, right? And it's not like we're drawing either. Spending the mana could be good too. Alright, passing it back. Since I already did it one turn, we might as well continue to hold it. Down to 13. Gonna be Preacher of the Schism. Very nice. Ooh, okay. We got our third black source. So I suppose we go ahead and play Bloodletter. Blocks really well in the air, but up against mono black, we have to anticipate that it just gets removed right away. But hey, I can't complain that we saw the mana on time. No removal. That draw. So if we block the Evolved Sleeper, they can buff it to a 3/3. I don't trust that at all. Like, what else would they have in hand, though? Is it safe? I don't know what they would have in hand unless there's like a surprise combat trick, which is, honestly, it's possible. You never know. Bring it up to 3/3. Oh, the Death Touch, guys. That is not the first time I've done that. Well, that's embarrassing. Wow. I can't believe I did that. Losing the Bloodletter could be the death of us, unfortunately, especially now we have like the Not Dead After All available in hand too. That's embarrassing, dude. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah, the Evolved Sleeper, I've been hit by that Death Touch so much it's embarrassing. And now, unfortunately... Oh man, these Deep Cavern Bats were so brutal. So now they can get it up to a 4/4 for 3 as well, so they get around that. So blocking anywhere. I guess we can force them to spend on the Sleeper. Okay, I guess. Yeah, no, this is very likely the opponents. I can't imagine what we end up drawing now that we don't have the Bloodletter on the board. But if they weren't activating the Sleeper, I suppose we could have still anticipated the fact that it was going to be removal anyways, because they have so many cards in hand. Okay, so far we've had some setbacks in these first 2 games. If Bloodletter would have survived, maybe being able to block those Deep Cavern Bats could have gone a long way overall. So by blocking there, we took less damage, but we didn't get the extra draw on the Lord Skitter's Blessing either, since we lost the creature. We lost the creature that actually had the aura on it. Okay, there's definitely a lot of things that I could have done better in that game, huh? So we can't entirely blame the deck, right? Especially when we actually had a pretty good lineup until Deep Cavern Bat decided that we didn't have a pretty good lineup too. So like actually getting that removal down with the Eriette on the board as well. Okay. Let's keep the ball rolling. I do believe in the build, and I actually believe that I can play it much better as well. So I'll do my dandiest here. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table? The opponent is, in fact, going first. We should be concerned. All right, this is a similar concept. As long as we see our third source, this should be an all right hand. All right enough, at least. Now we don't have removal in hand this time. Oh, man. It feels risky to keep this, but I kind of feel like I want to keep this, so I'm going to. Lunarch Veteran. All right, we might actually have a couple turns here. Okay, nice. Okay, so the Uneaten Feast comes down turn 1. And now that we got our third, this should be an all right hand. 12. Okay, Warden. When I said, okay, we have a couple turns here, I might have been terribly mistaken. Luckily, they're going to just power up Warden for the turn, but still, this is a dangerous board state to be up against. Planar Disruption. Nice. That'll come in handy. Well, maybe. It might come in handy. I guess we want to do it now, though, because it's our only 2-mana thing. So activated abilities can't be activated. I guess we just take Warden out of the equation. Skrelv is pretty tempting, though. It is, but they'll still have... Yeah, I guess it's Warden, and we do want the aura on the board regardless for when it comes time for everything else in hand, too. So I wonder if it's Eriette on turn 3 or Katilda on turn 3. They got their Adeline. Might as well full swing unless they plan on protection with the Skrelv. Alright, getting 2 through. They do plan on having protection open with Skrelv, so if we find more removal, we're going to have to start with that. More mana. It is a white source, so Bloodletter's being a little awkward for this hand. So Katilda will be a 3-3, and hopefully they don't just, like, drop a Brutal Cathar on it. I think it's Katilda for the turn. 2-4 on the ground. Adeline's going to get through. We can start the draining process on Eriette. And then next turn we'll have Katilda with a Not Dead After All open. Whereas if we don't see a black source off the top, we won't have that play next turn. So that seems a little better, right? So if we go Katilda this turn, next turn, if we just have the plains, we play the plains, play the Eriette, we won't have Not Dead After All open. So just thinking a little bit ahead here hopefully will help us. I guess this would be the Skrelv holding us back, right? Just the Skrelv open right now. So yeah, next turn seems pretty powerful. Unfortunately, Bloodletter is kind of a dead card in hand because of the triple black source in the casting cost. So I don't know how many extra turns it would actually take to cast Bloodletter, but it would be like turn 7 probably, right? Okay, Recruitment Officer. This is terrifying, dude. Their entire hand is on the board. They have a great swing with Adeline. We have the block into the 1-1, luckily, but we are taking a significant chunk of damage here, and next turn, Evangelist buffs their wide board state, too. So all of our extra life gain will hopefully go the extra mile, and maybe we'll have a trade with Katilda. No, we won't have a trade with Katilda. Not yet. This is still the play, though, right? We're going back up to 12. Katilda's still a great blocker. And if we want to chump into the Adeline, then we will have the Not Dead After All open. Which actually should be really good. So let's hope that they just miss off the top. Let's hope they don't see anything here. Going back up to 13. Yeah, only one aura on the board. It was tempting. The Vendor was a good draw. Vanguard, that is not a miss. That's for sure. Only their humans get the buff, though. Luckily. So, like, the Bat and the Evangelist. But it's still going to be the swing with the Evangelist regardless. They can make it so that way we can't block the Adeline, but they don't know we have Not Dead After All in hand. So they're thinking, like, well, any blocks would be fine and dandy. Yeah, the big thing here is chump the Adeline with Katilda, go back up to 16 to go Not Dead After All on that Katilda. They pass it. They're waiting. Maybe for a full swing with Mistress Foundry? Okay. I realistically, I can't really tell if that was good for us or bad for us. I feel like not having an extra black source here makes Okiba Reckoner Raid actually not a terrific draw, though it really wouldn't have been too bad, because if we went Vendor, used the plains at the beginning of combat, put a sorcerer roll onto something, then we could have... I think we still need to keep the Not Dead After All open, right? We need to have that chump when it comes time. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting to just activate Skrelv, call white, and then just get right through. If that's the case... Yeah, Adeline is getting pretty close. Okay, I'm going to save the Not Dead After All open for a potential block somewhere. So use the plains. We are going to put that onto Katilda. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That makes the most sense, I would say. And the swing could be pretty good, but we're just going to go no attacks. Because that Katilda is going to be the blocker. Okay. Eriette bringing us back up to 16 here. Come on, miss off the top, right? They have a terrific board state. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, guys. That definitely prevents the not dead after all. Crap, dude. Okay, I don't think we want to activate the not dead after all before the swing. I think we would rather just save it. Because, like, we activate it and we waste it because they don't have to swing this turn. I guess at this point, just letting the Katilda die could be fine, too. Maybe we see a 5th mana off the top. The opponent has been hitting pretty well here. That Thalia is going to go an extra mile. The rest of our hand is pretty bad since we're not seeing the extra black sources that we need. Okay, well. And solving the case isn't like our top priority. They pass it back. Oh, Ossification. Okay, well, we start with the Coppercoat Vanguard, unfortunately, as we are getting taxed ridiculously. If we go Ossification, we are gaining 3 off the Eriette at least. Maybe we could gain enough for the swing on the Katilda as well. We'll also have Spellbook Vendor. Okay, first of all, Ossification. We get rid of Vanguard because that's giving ward to all the humans and the extra buff as well. We might be safe enough to swing in the air. At that point... Okay, we'll put this on the Vendor because I believe the Eriette already has a huge target on its back. We swing in the air up to 23. They chump with the 1/1. Then we're gaining 4. Would we be safe? I think we can swing here. Call me crazy, man. We get the Scry, too. Maybe we can actually start seeing mana that we need. Oh, Lord Skitter's Blessing. It's going to be 3 mana, remember. 3 mana because Thalia's on the board. No, I'm gonna send it. We're looking just for another black source on the board here. I think the chump would be worthwhile for them. Yeah, a few turns of both of us holding back has been really interesting, actually. Because at any point they could have activated Skrelv to get the Adeline through. Has it been 2 or 3 turns that they haven't done that? I think we could have died by now. But at the same time, not really sure. Okay, we solve the case. Eriette brings us up to 27, them down to 22. As long as they, like, eventually stop hitting off the top here, we should be able to completely pull this around. The Adeline slowly getting weaker as they lose more and more creatures, too. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, what do you think? Just activating the Skrelv's ability to get the Adeline through a couple turns in a row and calling white, because that is everything on our board. Now, if they were putting pressure on our face with the Adeline, that's the big question, right? Like, what order would we have played cards instead? Like, what would have been our decision there? Okay, so they go Knight Errant of Eos. So now that this is solved, by the way, we can sacrifice it, and creature cards in our graveyard have you may cast this card from your graveyard. We have nothing in the graveyard right now, though, so... Wow, a beautiful restock for the opponent as Intrepid Adversary and Brutal Cathar is absolutely devastating. Of course, they just have a 2-mana Adversary for this turn, and they don't have the 3rd mana for Brutal Cathar, luckily. They are going for the swing now, so it was the Katilda that was holding them back here from the swing. So they're going to generate a 1/1, they're going to gain 1 up to 24. The battle cry goes off too. Okay. So I think all we got to worry about, we are taking a significant chunk of damage here. But we know what's in their hand. We know what's going on here. So we go to the blocking step. We want to take care of Evangelist. They get a 1/1 bat. That's still pretty important to take care of though, right? So we can block here. 1/1 bat will be able to block the Katilda again. But we still have a great swing regardless with that extra lifelink. Maybe we let them keep the Evangelist. Make sure that the Katilda can connect before they take it with the Cathar next turn. Taking 13 damage. I'll tell you what, Black Source off the top would be pretty darn good for us. Cathar, like, does get around the not dead after all, too, so. All right, Shattered Sanctum. All right, we are one Black Source away from Bloodletter of Aclazotz. So Okiba before combat because it affects combat. Excuse me, guys. So the opponent has some decisions, and keeping the not dead after all still available is going to be relatively decent, I would say. We activate Spellbook Vendor on the Eriette. This is great life gain, man. Swing in the air. Get that scry. Let's see it. Ossification. Okay, we should actually keep that, right? Even though I'm still looking for that third black source. Ossification can pick up the Cathar when it comes time. So we're back up to 21. The opponent's down to 14. And then at the end here, we're gaining another 5. And the opponent's going down to 9. What a wild game, dude. Like I said, though, I don't know if the opponent could have won earlier, as I think they realistically they wanted to keep the Skrelv open for protection this entire time. Right? Because they don't know what's in hand. We're in Orzhov colors over here, too, which usually has a ton of removal. Okay. So, when this creature dies, yeah, I was just double checking there. I think there is one that says when this creature leaves the battlefield. The Ossification can pick up the Cathar. We'll get our Katilda back. They still have a terrific swing. We did lose an aura there, so the... how do we want to do this? They just swing with the Adeline? Okay, here it comes. Good block there. Not dead after all, just kind of not doing anything for us, huh? Like, no great trades. I guess we can chump the Adeline with the, like the Spellbook Vendor or something, right? Take less damage. At this point, too, maybe it is time to take care of the Evangelist finally. We can chump the Adeline. And we can take care of Evangelist. They're going to get that flyer in the air, but it's probably a good thing to get that off the board so they stop buffing wide every swing. Okay. We don't know what this last card in hand is either. Lots to think about here, man. Not dead after all on the Spellbook Vendor. We'll get that wicked roll. Ossification, get Katilda back. Katilda doesn't have anything fancy like haste, but that should be okay. Eriette doing so much for us here, too. If they're 1-1, they're going back up to 12, too. Crazy time, dude. Alright, Ossification. Let's do this, buddy. Maybe. I think it's the Skrelv holding us open again, right? At some point, I think they want to stop using Skrelv as protection, I would say. I will put it onto a different planes for no reason. Brutal Cathar, get Katilda back. And then activate the Sorcerer Roll ability on Spellbook Vendor. There's a lot going on here, man. Put that on the Katilda. You can't stack rolls onto your own creatures, unfortunately. No attacks. Eriette draining 6. We're going back up to 27. The opponent has their work cut out for them, man. First things first, they got to remove this Katilda. That's step 1. Step 2 is just have a terrific swing here. We still have 5. No matter what, we need to... Oh, never mind, never mind. They gain 1 from the Lunarch veteran, so they're up to 6. I was going to say, no matter what, we need to keep the Eriette alive. But now it doesn't actually get the drain through. So, like, Black Source off the top for a Bloodletter would be a way. Great swing here. A chance to take out the Thalia. They're going up to 7. Don't forget, the case can let us cast the Spellbook Vendor back too. If we wanted to chump again, for example, we could take this, right? Yeah. Let's get that Thalia off the board in case we see more. I don't know exactly. We have a lot of mana, I guess, for this build. I guess the extra tax wasn't doing too much. Down to 9. Eriette's going to do 5 here. I don't see a way to do the extra 2 without that without that extra black source, Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Oh, buddy. Okay, let's do this. We play Swamp, we play Bloodletter, we pass. Since it's at the beginning of our end step, that is, in fact, our turn. Oh, let it go through, though. Let it go through. Okay. Back up to 11 too, by the way. We go next. We might as well activate this. That's right, we also had the extra roll on the Road Captain too, if we wanted it. We also don't know what this last plains is. I suppose that could be something, right? So no attacks. End turn. Eriette does 6, but it's actually 12. GG opponent. Holy cow. What a match, huh? I kind of feel like we could have been dead a little bit earlier. I believe the opponent was just holding the Skrelv for protection, and that's it. So, gains hexproof from that color until end of turn, and it can't be blocked by creatures of that color. Were there any other moments where we actually had anything other than white creatures on the board during that game? I don't know. That's one I want to go back and watch and see how many chances the opponent had. But again, it's like I said, they didn't know what exactly we were playing, and we were in Orzhov colors. So at any point, if they activated Skrelv while we had open mana, we were keeping open mana most of that game for the Not Dead After All, by the way. So at any moment, if they would have tapped the Skrelv to activate that on the Adeline, like, we could have just dropped a go for the throat on the Adeline, and that would have been devastating for the opponent as well. So, like that's all stuff to think about, right? Which is why I said, like, I'm not really sure if there was a great way through for the opponent, but it's definitely one to think about. Opponent goes first again. Geez, man, I don't know about this. I don't like seeing the 2 white sources here too. Let's try to actually end on a high note as well. That last game was a pretty good high note, but I mean, I'm talking again. Here we go. And we will send the... I mean, at this point, the Caves, maybe? If they're going first and they're like mono red, the pain is going to be a pain. So yeah, we should just send that and be happy that we have 2 swamps in hand already too. Okay, and I'll start with the swamp since we're not doing anything else for the turn. Naya colors over there. Oh, Okiba. Well, you could have been good, buddy. Last turn. Okay, spending the mana, I suppose. It might get burnt, unfortunately, but that's fine. It didn't. It just passed right back. Nothing from the opponent for the first 2 turns. Turn number 3. Fight rigging. Okay. I'm thinking dinos then, huh? But the dinos do enjoy having their turn 1 and 2. Katilda. Okay, now we need the double white source. So far, the mana's been pretty greedy, but I can't really tell if we've just been getting a little unlucky with all that, too. Might as well start with Curse of the Leeches. I'm pretty sure they're going to get that free fight rigging off next turn. They've had a lot of chances to set this up, or a lot of... the word I'm looking for. They've had a lot of freedom set up this fight rigging, so I feel like they're just going to drop that big chunky creature and get that free thing from the fight rigging right away. So we'll go ahead and attempt the setup, was what I was getting at with the Curse of Leeches then. Connoisseur, come on, don't give these haste. Temporary lockdown? What? Oh no. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for the opponent. So Katilda, Okiba, Reckoner raid. I don't know why I'm thinking Katilda for the turn. It chumps the Hammer Skull at least. This is a terrific, terrific turn 4 for the opponent, guys. Absolutely amazing. We go Eriette. We can continue going the drain route. We end up taking the 14. Maybe like a swing on the Katilda wouldn't be bad. I feel like a Katilda chump isn't terrible though either. Or maybe it's like Case File Auditor. Probably not. I think we're forced to set up the chump here with the Katilda. Because if we go Eriette, I don't want to chump at all. Okay, we're up to 23. The opponent is down to 15. Oh, Nahiri's Resolve gives +1/+0 and haste to their creatures. And... oh, no, guys. They'll get to exile that Trumpeting Connoisseur and bring it back. You know what? We're just gonna take this damage, huh? No chumps, because at this point we might as well swing with the Katilda too, especially if we see some removal. Oh, except for the fact that all of our removal is sorcery, so like the or sorcery speed, so Nahiri's Resolve is perfect for that. Dude, we're in so much trouble here, but yeah, they bring those back and they'll have haste. Maybe we find... is there anything we can do against enchantments? Maybe we'll find something off the Case File Auditor? Maybe. I don't know about that though. Ossification's pretty good, but yeah, with their Nahiri's Resolve, I guess that's that. Lord Skitter's Blessing isn't bad though. We do get to play that, put that onto the Katilda, and this Katilda is getting a pretty good boost. It is 6. We could swing. 13. We have Case File Auditor. If they remove the Auditor, then we lose next turn because we won't have the chump. Yeah, we should go for the swing. So we're going up to 14 here, and the opponent's down to 7. Instead of keeping that back, like we have almost 0 chance, so we might as well go for the riskiest thing possible. Angel Fire Ignition. Dude, the opponent's deck is actually really sick. So that gives them the trample that they need on the Hammer Skull. They go ahead and recast the Angel Fire Ignition too, since the first one was free off the Connoisseur. That is 20 damage coming through. So if we had the chump on Katilda, we would have been at 8 right now anyways. Okay, well, we block. We drop them to GG's because it truly was a great game actually. Had we gone first, maybe we would have had a great chance. Actually, that depends too, right? That lifelink on the Angel Fire Ignition, the opponent's deck was really sick. Angel Fire Ignition being a great addition regardless, because it's also not like a terrible one to hit off the fight rigging by any means, you know what I mean? All right, guys, we're about 40 minutes in. Let's go ahead and go over the deck one more time here. The total deck win rate for today was, what, 25%? We got 4 games in. I don't think we went first a single time, and I do think that matters, actually. I think Had we gone first in some of those losses, maybe we would have had a chance, but especially in like that second game, I played this deck very poorly. And also the mana base felt a lot greedier than I thought it would be. I guess it makes sense when we have like double white on Katilda and triple black on Bloodletter. It was like double black on Sheoldred and all that too. Other than that, I actually didn't think the mana base was going to hold us up at all, but I do think now looking at it, we're going to have to... What do we want here? Like I was going to say, we could drop the swamp, go up another Restless Forest or something, also fitting that drain theme that the Eriette has going for it. Overall, a lot jankier than the last time we visited Eriette, but boy, oh boy, that bottom ability is still so good, huh? Also, the double Katilda is so worth it in here. I wouldn't take these out at all. I wouldn't even drop it down to 1. I do think the 2 is excellent. Curse of the Leeches is probably a janky pick, and in that last game, while it was totally doing a thing, we would have just much rather had something... something else. I don't know what else we would have wanted. We just would have much rather wanted like an aura that affected the board state a little bit more, right? So that's something to think about. I do really like Curse of Leeches, though. And also going with that whole drain theme that we have going on in here, too. A Deadweight didn't make an appearance today, but I'm definitely not dropping them. I think this is going to be terrific often. If I drop a swamp and go up a Restless Forest, we do have a perfect even split here. If you look, got 56% of the deck has white sources and 56% of the deck has black sources, so 20 and 20 there. The crossover between that 6%, of course, is the area of the Charmed Apple. With that perfect even split, we still opted for more swamps because of the triple black in the Bloodletter, but also because of all the extra like cards that we want to keep open with the black source, like Not Dead After All and Fungal Fortitude, for example, too. But a lot of extra 1 mana black sources too that we need to have available. So if we end up playing a couple things, like what I'm getting at here is more often than not, if you're doing 2 things on the same turn, both of those things are likely to use a swamp. So we still have more swamps even though there is an even split. And the more basics you drop, there are going to be some games where Ossification is just a dead card in hand because you just see your triple caves or something, right? So it is pretty risky. There's a risky balance in this deck, and overall, when I upload it, for sure, I'm going to put it up as jank, especially in those games where we kind of got picked apart. I do believe, though, yeah, had we gone first, had I played it out a little better, I do believe in the deck, but I'm definitely going to post it as jank. And that being said, too, I'd put this on the do not craft list as well. There are some... I mean, if you have the cards, though, I think it would be worth a shot to try out and see, and maybe mess around with the mana base, but I don't think I'm going to. I kind of just want to keep it as is and say more testing required overall. A few other noteworthy things. Okiba Reckoner Raid is just like pretty darn good in general, huh? I love that as budget too. You don't really think of it often, but this is just a common, and I really like that. Lord Skitter's Blessing, I would have liked to see do a little bit more today. The big issue here is you don't have like a 1 mana card, a 1 mana creature that you play on turn 1 and then go right into the Lord Skitter's Blessing. Lord Skitter's Blessing ends up just coming out on the later turns instead. Once you actually have some creatures on the board, and hopefully your 2 and 3 drop creatures survived. But if they didn't, then at that point too, the Okiba Reckoner Raid is going to flip into Road Captain, and at least you'll have a creature there as well. So it's not like there's going to be a significant lack of creatures to plug that Wicked Roll and to get that extra card. It's just the fact that it's not coming down on curve, right? So, hey. Case of the Uneaten Feast, it kind of did a thing today. We solved it, but we didn't actually use the part of it that is solved. Other than that, it was just a pretty good enchantment that was gaining us life and boosting our Katilda as well. Katilda kind of the MVP today, huh? Case File Auditor came in that last game. I don't know what we could have saw there. We ended up seeing the Lord Skitter's Blessing, which, yeah, when you're dropping an enchantment and it gives you another enchantment, boy, oh boy, is that just so good with Katilda, huh? Do I want 3 Katildas? No, probably not. And it's the double white in the casting cost that is making me think that we shouldn't go for the double Katildas, right? All right. We didn't see Invasion of Theros today either. Flipping this could have been pretty good in some of those games, right? I think it's really easy to get that lifelink indestructible. Just 3 other enchantments. That's easy peasy, dude. And then this is just a pretty devastating card. So whenever another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control as well, you draw a card. So another way to restock your hand outside of the Lord Skitter's Blessing, all while gaining you that life that the Lord Skitter's Blessing is making you lose too. The Caves of Koilos. The pain damage on this was pretty painful. But overall, in a deck like this, where we're draining the opponent and gaining a significant amount, I think we want that. I was going to say, like, do we want just more tapped lands, more Restless Fortress? Probably not. 24 land. Did 24 land feel like enough? Average of 2.2. At 2.2, I would say 24 should be enough, but there were a lot of moments where we wanted to do multiple things on the same turn as well. But if you go up a 25th mana, what would you drop? That's a really tough... Oh, maybe the Curse of Leeches, right? Then what would you go up? Because if you go up a swamp, now the deck is leaning towards white when you drop the Curse of the Leeches. So if you go up another white source, there's going to be a lot of moments too where in that one game where we actually pulled off the victory by some miracle, it took us forever to get the triple black sources on the board. Maybe like some just other mana fixing then. Maybe like Mirex? See, Mirex doesn't last. We drop Curse, go up Mirex. Is there another mana fixer that we wouldn't mind having in here? I don't know. Let me know in the comments for sure. Outside of that, I don't really know what the new set brings to the table for an Eriette style build. I'm not 100% certain what the auras and stuff look like either, so maybe this deck will change up a lot, and that's just another reason to put it on the do not craft list with the new set right around the corner. So all right, guys. Hey, if you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.